man. The night has fringes on, man. Right? Got fringes. Right? He ain't the only one. He got some fringes on too. It gets crazier. Check this out. Look. It's the menorah. It's the shield. Shield of David, the lily. Look at that, man. On the blade. Shalom. I want to give all the praise, honor, and glory to Yahweh Bahasham, Yahushai Bahasham Rakat Kwadash. Double honors to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone who taught me this truth, and shalom to the hopeful elect. Okay, so this video would be part 3. Let's pick up where we left off. The Wildman eating the truth about the Moors of Europe. Okay, we stopped at the fall of the Western Roman Empire. Okay. The Western Empire struggled throughout the 5th century. Germanic tribes sacked Rome several times, most notably in 410 AD by the Visigoths. All right, these are Israelites. Okay, despite efforts to defend its borders, the Western Empire weakened steadily. By 476 AD, the last Western emperor, Romulus Augustulus, was deposed by the Germanic chieftain Odoacer. This event marks the traditional date for the fall of the Western Roman Empire. After the fall, Western Europe fragmented into numerous kingdoms ruled by Germanic peoples. These were Israelites, okay? Roman institutions and urban life declined, and the region entered what historians often refer to as the Dark Ages, okay? Which is written in prophecy. We went through Revelation chapter 20, 1 through 3, right? Referred to as the Dark Ages, however, the legacy of Rome lived on in law, language, and the Christian church. All right, so let's go back to it here. Let's jump up a little bit, about 26 minutes. All right.
this. So let me find this quote. Here it is. Okay, so observations concerning the increase of mankind. Okay, I'm going to zoom in a bit here so everyone can follow along. And this is written by Benjamin Franklin. This quote was surprising to me, firstly because I didn't know that Benjamin Franklin was a raging racist. Like proper raging racist. It's amazing how many of the great forefathers that they expect us to respect and to love and to forgive. You know, over in the UK, it's Winston Churchill. Oh, we're supposed to love him, we're supposed to respect him, we're supposed to worship the ground he walks on. The guy was a piece of shit. Proper disgusting racist. So it's really important that we do not hold to esteem their forefathers and the people that they respect, because their forefathers and the people that they respect are literally our Hitlers. That's what they are. They want us to worship. It's like asking a Jew to worship Hitler. That's what literally they ask us to do in worshipping their forefathers. These were people responsible for genocide, the architects of it, and often the proprietors of it as well. Big shout out to Black Rampage 2. Thank you very much for your generous donation of $19.99. I appreciate it, my brother. Yes. Okay, so let's get into this quote from the raging psychopath Benjamin Franklin. And it's right at the very bottom of this letter. So he wrote this letter, and this is the bottom quote. And by the way, this is founders.archives.gov. Okay, this isn't some Mickey Mouse website. This is an official government website. Okay, so this is an archive document. In case anyone wants to doubt, this is what was actually said. So let's read. So Benjamin Franklin here is. In fact, I'm just going to read the paragraph before to give you guys a bit of context, and then we're going to get into the same. Okay. All right. So, and since detachments of English from Britain sent to America will have their places at home, so soon supplied and increase so largely here, why should the Palatine Boers be suffered to swarm into our settlements, and by herding together establish their language and manners to the exclusion of ours? Why should Pennsylvania, founded by the English, become a colony of aliens, who will shortly be so numerous as to Germanize us? Notice that word, Germanize us. Why would he be worried about the Germans? You're going to find out. Instead of...
Because they were Jakes, you know? He's, what's his name? Benjamin Franklin. He's telling you what the people looked like back then during this time that were in Europe.
Anglified instead of us anglifying them, and will never adopt our language or customs any more than they can acquire our complexion. Okay, so this is the discussion about complexion. So for those of you who like to jump on the, oh, they were describing hair color. Yeah, no, they weren't. Okay, very, very clear. So what was he talking about here? Which leads me to add one remark, that the number of purely white people in the world is proportionably very small. All Africa is black or tawny. Okay, so all Africa is black or tawny. Tawny being that kind of brown color, okay, or black. So this is your brown and black alternating. Asia, chiefly tawny. Okay, so Asia is chiefly brown. America, exclusive of the newcomers, so the newcomers being the Westerners, obviously, wholly so. So America's wholly brown. Okay, so wholly the color of half of Africa, essentially. And in Europe, the Spaniards, Italians, French, Russians, and Swedes. And I love the fact that Sweden's in here as well, in case there's any doubt, are generally of what we call a swarthy complexion, as are the Germans also. The Saxons only excepted, who with the English make up the principal body of white people on the face of the earth. So white people, basically, he's saying, are restricted to the Saxons and the English. and everyone else, well, Spaniards, Italians, French, Russians, Swedes, and Germans are principally swarthy.
See that? They were brown skinned, dark skinned, they were black, so called, right? As we saw in the book here, okay? Negroes in coats of arms of European cities, right? And they show you clearly, all right, that these were Jakes, all right, so-called Negroes, Germany, the royal coats and arms, right? Can't get around it, okay? Let's see if there's anything else real quick before we go back. All right. 16th century Venice, Italy, Germany, Holland, Russia, right? There you have it. Okay.
Now, there's a few things we need to do before we dive in any further, because there's going to be people with their kind of doubting Thomas hats out, which is fair enough. Let's define the word swarthy. So, I love my 1827 dictionary because this is only 70 years out from this quote being written by Benjamin Franklin, so it's almost contemporaneous. I hope you would agree. Okay, and I'm going to give you the definition of the word swarthy in accordance to my 1827 Collins Dictionary. So let me read this to you. If I can find it, here we go. Here we go. Swarthy. So definition of swarthy is dark of complexion, and it says tawny there. So tawny is the colour that he used to describe half of Africa. And actually I've got another definition for that, which we're going to see in the longer version of this dictionary. In fact, I can pull it up on the screen because I've got it saved. Bear with me. Tracy, thank you very much for your generous donation. It says the power of...
Yeah, real quick, all right? Swarthy, dark of complexion, all right? Judah was dark skinned, all right? So-called black. Jeremiah 14 and 2, it says, Judah mourneth in the gates thereof languish. They are black unto the ground, and the cry of Jerusalem is going up. All right, they are black unto the ground. Okay, the Hebrew word is quadar. All right, mourn, be dark, to be dark. Okay, i.e. dark colored, right? Blackish. Okay, lexicon, to be of a dirty blackish color. Okay, to be darkened, dark skin. All right, the house of Judah, the Judites, were of dark skin. They were so-called black. They were Negroes, man. Okay, Benjamin Franklin called the people of Germany, Russia, Spain, okay, those European nations as swarthy, dark of complexion. Okay.
Lies to shape perception is magnified when they are repeated incessantly over centuries, gradually cementing themselves as accepted truths in the collective consciousness. Lies repeated. Absolutely. So, I'm going to find the quote for you really quickly. Boom, boom. Okay. Yeah, here it is. And I'm going to pull it up on the screen so you can see this as well. Let me rotate this. Well, let me rotate from here to the British Library. So I'm just going to rotate the screen so you can all see this. There we go. Zoom in. Swarthy. Dark of complexion, black, dusky, tawny. Okay? The swarthy Africans complain. Though through torrid climates the common colour is black or swarthy, yet the natural colour of the temperate climates is more transparent.
Bear with me, man.
And beautiful.
Hey, it's all coming out, man. Okay? The truth. Alright? The people in Europe at that time were swarthy. Darker complexion, they were black. Okay?
It's Swarthy Charles appears, and we're going to get into that one. Swarthy Charles. Yep. And they're his brother with dejected air. Okay, I'm sure a lot of people want to get into Swarthy Charles. Swarthy to blacken, to make swarthy or dusky. So swarthy is clearly a word that is associated with darkness or blackness. Okay? And you have Benjamin Franklin here saying essentially all of Germany, or principally Germany, swarthy. Now that by itself is, I wouldn't say it's a nothing burger, but it's kind of like we clearly got it wrong. But then when we think about the people that he mentioned, let's just do this really logically, okay? Just have a real logical kind of like look at this, because I'm sure you guys, even being in America, why has that just crashed on me? Tell you, man. When Google Chrome wants to start crashing, it just goes off on one, doesn't it? Okay, that's not gonna work. Okay, I'll do a new window here. So let's just do really quickly a search for Swedish people. And I know this could have seemed really simple. You're like, Andrew, you know what Swedish people look like, but it's quite important to note. Swedish people now. The Swedes, as Benjamin Franklin mentioned, even if you're going to use the really far-fetched definition of swarthy and say, okay, maybe he means just like a little bit on the olive side of that word olive, like Italians and modern Spaniards, they're a bit brown. Swedish people aren't that. They are what you would describe now as the Nordic race. They are whiter than the Brits and the Saxon, or at least the modern Brits. Certainly whiter than modern Brits by some degree. Okay, they're known for being a mainly kind of light-haired kind of people with very light skin. The same thing we know of Germans and Dutch, and yet these people were called principally swarthy. So by itself it feels like it's nothing, but then when you add it together with the fact that these people couldn't have been confusing these people with being principally a dark-skinned people, because they weren't. If you look at Germans, Austrians, Dutch and British now, they're probably the most contiguous racially on the European continent. They all look very alike. It's very hard to tell a Dutch person apart from a British person, but obviously apart from when they start speaking. They look really similar, and I wouldn't say that for all kind of Europeans. I can tend to tell Eastern Europeans apart from Western Europeans, even when they're the same complexion. There's just something about the kind of facial structure and makeup. But when it comes to Austrians, Dutch, English, they all look very similar. They're obviously of the same stock. So then the question asks, well, what happened to these swarthy people? Where have they gone? because that tapestry would suggest that these were the people that Benjamin Franklin was talking about. These people here that were.
Before coming to us, our client Stephanie had been posting.
Bear with me, let's let this pass.
Hunted into disappearance. What happened to them, and when did it happen? That is the question, isn't it? Okay, that is the question. Let's have a look at a video now. We've actually, I will have finished reading this quote. I only got halfway. Wait, I was sure I didn't get to the end. Swarthy complexion, as are the Germans also. The Saxons only accepted, who with the English make the principal body of white people on the face of the earth. I wish their numbers were increased, while we are, as I may call it, scouring our planet by clearing America of woods, and so making this side of our globe reflect a brighter light to the eyes of inhabitants in Mars or Venus. Why should we, in the sight of superior beings, darken its people? So he was really on one here, man. That whole evolution theory had got him on one. For aliens were watching him. Why increase the sons of Africa by planting them in America, where we have so fair an opportunity by excluding all blacks and tawnies, all blacks and browns, of increasing the lovely white and red. But perhaps I am partial to the complexion of my country, for such kind of partiality is natural to mankind. So there you have it. There's the quote unquote great Benjamin Franklin. What a patriarch we have there. Okay.
Yeah, which he acknowledged that, so-called Negroes were amongst Europe, Germany at that time. They were black and brown skinned. They were of a swarthy complexion. All right, which further adds to the prophecy that Jake was ruling. Okay, Europe, Russia, Spain, Germany. All right, during the Dark Ages, man, for that 1,000 years. All right, let's get a little bit more here. All right.
Have a quick breeze through this video that I did. It's a very short video. It's about 2 minutes long. Okay, I'm just gonna quickly change my view because I don't want this to be full screen. So let me Okay, cool. So I want to watch this video together with you guys. I'm gonna full screen it. Okay. And yeah, some of you would have seen this, some of you haven't, but pay attention, it's quite interesting, and I may jump in, but I may not because it's really short, but yeah, let me let it play.
Have you ever wondered why Morris dancers dress in blackface? Well, the modern explanation is as follows.
Back in the 1400s, which is where it's the earliest recorded events are, during the winter they would put rags on their jackets, maybe put bells on, disguise their faces, normally with soot from the chimneys of Greece, and predates any racial connotations.
As entertaining as that.
Now, just a really quick one. For those of you who aren't English, Morris dancing is kind of like a thing. It's like called folk dancing over here. Not all Morris dancers do the blackface thing, but I had no idea that Morris dancing's origins came from the Moors. So this was quite interesting for me to learn. But one of the reasons I like to play back this video is just so we can look at some of these dictionary definitions, because that's what's really key here. So let me let it play.
The explanation is it is as dishonest as it is convoluted. Let's qualify that by looking up some of the earliest definitions available in this Dictionary of the English Language by Samuel Johnson, dated 1827. It states for the definition of morisque, a dance after the manner of the Moors, often written Maurice or Morris. Also a dancer of Morris or Moorish dance. In the same dictionary, the definition of Moorish means belonging to the Moors, whilst Moresque means done after the manner of the Moors. And just in case there is any controversy regarding the definition of Moor, the definition for this is a
So just to be clear, that little picture that was up that I put a cross through, that came from a guy called Ancestral Brew, who has, he's one of these, he's really irritating. I can't stand the guy, if I'm going to be totally honest with you. Don't leave hate on this channel, by the way. I know you wouldn't, but I'll just say that just to be PC. Yeah, I can't stand the guy because all of his videos are so, he's always trying to steal black achievements and black history and then kind of like give it to Arabs or anybody else, and then he makes up. I've done a video on him before. He makes up all of this genetic information. He does this kind of like quasi-interpretation of genetic data, and he's done it on the Moors as well. So he talks about how you can see that the image there. He's painted the Moors to be these kind of like light-colored Arabs. It's like, mate, the word literally, the definition of the word is here. It clearly means a Negro.
Yeah, as we brought out in the Nature Knows No Color line, we read all of this, going into the definition of more, what it means, who they are. All right, they're Negroes. Okay, and this is from chapter 6. Okay, page 69 out of Nature Knows No Color line. The Negro has more Negro ancestry in aristocratic European families. Okay, which we read, right?
And you're trying to steal our European history, and it's not on. And we must, we must essentially start taking being a bit more forthright and confrontational about people trying to steal and erase our presence on the continent. Because actually, yes, African history is really important, but if we have a history in Europe as well, that is equally something that we need to start placing our resources and our weight towards understanding, because it's significant. Our imprint on this continent is significant. But yeah, let me play.
Niger, a Negro, a blackamoor. Shakespeare states, getting up off the Negro's belly, the Moor is with child by you. Also, in as early as 1489, William Caxton states he was so angry he became as black as a Moor. Miranda Kaufman states that Shakespeare described Othello and Aaron of Titus Andronicus as Moors, but references to Othello's sooty bosom and Aaron's coal-black visage make it clear that both were conceived as being dark-skinned. Henry Peacham's drawing of a staging of Titus Andronicus confirms that Aaron was played as a black man. Indeed, the earliest available interpretations of Morris or Moresca dancing leave little room for semantic ambiguity, as seen in this 1480 statue of an original dancing Moor from Bavaria, proving the Moresca tradition was one that was widespread throughout Europe.
So this is really quite key, because the Moorish dancers keep the same costume as well, which I find quite interesting. And actually, there are many things that we associate with kind of like European and English folk tradition that relate directly to the Moors. A lot of it is Moorish tradition. Even a lot of these outfits that in our minds are so kind of like European, but you guys saw, you guys did see on that tapestry that I showed you, the Wildmen and the Moors. The Wildmen didn't have clothes. The Moors were clothed.
Those are the Edomites, man. Okay, the hairy man, the Neanderthal, the wild man. Okay, see, that's what the scriptures say. Let me get that too. This man is the forger of lies. It's all coming out, right? Job 13:4, and it reads, "But you are forgers of lies. You are all physicians of no value." Esau is the devil, man. Okay? All these things that you would have thought, as he was saying, to be European, it all goes back to Jake. All right? Don't the scriptures say that, Jacob's the former of all things, So yes, it's a big deal. Jake was ruling Europe for 1,000 years. The Dark Ages, man. This is a part of history that Esau tried to wipe out. Okay?
Those crowns that we associate with European monarchs were formed by the Moors before Europe had monarchies. So it calls into question, asks us to revise our entire understanding about where a lot of these things originated.
Yeah, like this person said it on his comment section. Everything 6:8:26. All roads lead to darkness. Us laugh out loud. Yeah, everything goes back to Jake. Okay,
where did these trends, these clothings, these fashions originate? Who do they look like? You know, the more and more I kind of do this research, the more I kind of look back, and when I look at period dramas and I see people, kind of like sometimes European people wearing certain clothes, it looks like cosplay to me. So why does it look like cosplay? But then, you know, if that would be someone, you know, Moorish or of African descent wearing that, it would look more natural. It's really weird how this is now crossing over even into some of the traditions that are associated with Europe. But yeah.
Though, should blackface be banned and should people be offended? Perhaps the greater concern is what seems to be the deliberate omission of the black European contribution toward this culturally significant tradition. Indeed, rather than ignoring or burying this tradition, we should allow it to open up an important and honest discourse about the influential pre-transatlantic presence of black people on the European continent.
So, yeah, one of the main reasons I did that video is not to... one of the main reasons I did that video was not to get people to start attacking Morris Dancing, as I'm sure you guys got. It's about exposing the truth behind some of these traditions. It kind of like Morris Dancing, I now want it to flourish, I want it to exist, and I want everyone to know what Morris Dancing is.
There you go. So you can watch the rest of that. You know, it's another part that's about 2 hours, but I'll just leave it here. Okay, you get the point that I'm trying to make. Okay, the truth is out here, man, and it's all coming out in these last days. All right, John 8:32. Okay, John 8:32, and you shall know the truth, and the truth shall make you free. See that? So, hey, we got a heavy history, man. All right, when it comes to Europe, the Dark Ages, and all of that. Like I said before, you know, this video is highly informative, man. He does a good job. Lord willing, I'll be able to watch a little bit more. I just wanted, you know, just to make some, some quick parts and add on to the spirit, you know. But like I said, you can watch the rest of these two videos. Both of them are 2 hours long, but there's some good history to know, man. All right, so we'll leave it there. I pray that this lesson was edifying, man. So, and that's it, you know. So, shalom to the next one. Shalom.